Hello and welcome back once again to Talking Wanderers. We've had 2 weeks off and now Bolton are back in action this weekend with a home game against Swansea. With me to talk about it is Mark Isles, our football correspondent. Well, Matt, it's been a couple of weeks since we spoke, with Bolton being away, and in that time I think we're going to go in for Europe, aren't they? But that's the only thing that's really changed, isn't it?
Yeah, on current form, I think we're gonna go in for the Champions League, and Liverpool are heading for relegation. But no, absolutely amazing where they come from. Watching them against Arsenal the other night, it was amazing. But I'm one of the people that had them down a few weeks ago, I've got to say.
Yeah. Personally, I always thought Wigan, Blackburn and Bolton would get out of it. I think I'm thinking twice about Blackburn now. Bolton back in the balance. Yeah,
well, I think it would have been a long shot to expect them to come back in and nobody having won any points at all. But they're back in the bottom three. They've still got the games there. I mean, they've got 2 games in hand, and everybody barring Villa, who are still down there as well, in my opinion. It's very much about how they embrace it. This game against Swansea looks like a massive one.
Yeah, and then big game against Villa, of course, on Tuesday night.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they can beat Swansea, they give themselves that little bit of a cushion, and it won't be quite as high pressure against Villa as you might expect. But yes, it's one of their games in hand, and really, you could say that in a week's time, when we're next sat here, it could be a very, very different story. We could be painting a different picture.
God. And what do you think about the game against Barcelona? Sorry, Swansea.
No, I mean, look, they've been amazing this season, haven't they? They're so fluid, the way they play, the way they set themselves out. I think Bolton have got to. Speaking to Sam Ricketts before, and I'll be writing about this later on, but watching Chelsea play against Barcelona in midweek, the way that Chelsea set themselves out and invited pressure and tried to get on the break, I think there's quite a lot of lessons to be learned there, and I think that certainly seems to be the way that they're thinking about it in the camp as well. So, Swansea are going to come there. They're safe now, having beaten Blackburn last week. They're going to be relaxed. I'm sure they're going to be playing that free, fluid style again. And it's about how Bolton react now, really.
They won't really fancy the battle, though, will they? If they've got that kind of "we're safe now" attitude. I suppose we'll see a lot about Swansea's character, won't we, as well? Because they're good at playing football. They're safe, nothing to play for. If Bolton can really get at them, we'll see what they're made of, I suppose.
Well, they should do. I mean, you would hope that Swansea come with their eye off the ball. I mean, Brendan Rodgers has been speaking this week about maybe swapping a few players about, trying a few different systems, and all that's great news. But at the end of the day, when they get out there on the pitch, you've got to deliver. And we were all really disappointed with the performance and the results against Fulham at the Reebok last time out. And if they go into a game like that again, I think it was overconfidence when they went in against Fulham. If they go into it like that again, Swansea are going to tear them apart, and we're really going to be in trouble.
Absolutely. And there's a big following coming from Swansea as well, 3,000 or so, I believe, and another big crowd at the Reebok.
Yeah, well, I think they've gone all out. So one Bolton game, they've had a big promotion, and again, the Bolton public have snapped up the tickets. I think they're heading for another 25,000. Support, and that's amazing. I mean, they turn out in force, don't they, Bolton fans, when the going gets tough.
Yeah, they do. I was quite surprised at this one, though. I mean, there've been a few games where they've got big crowds. There's been a reason for that. There's been Newcastle at Boxing Day. There's been holiday games. This one isn't a holiday, and yet it's going to be pretty packed out. I mean, it just shows that the fans are really rallying around now.
Yeah, I think everybody knows they've got to play the part, and I think the crowds have been really good this season at the Reebok. They've averaged something like 22.5 or so, and I don't think there has been a crowd that's dipped below 20. So we've known for a while that people are returning, and they've just got to keep all the Premier League status, haven't they, or else it can slip into reverse.
Of course. And then we've got the ongoing issue of Greg Wild. We seem to be about rubber stamping his deal on a daily basis, and we're still not seeing anything from him.
I spoke to the club midweek last week, and they just got off the phone. Sam Marland had been working feverishly behind the scenes, got off the phone with the Football Association, who had been brokering the whole thing with FIFA. And I can imagine it's a minefield of red tape, because FIFA are looking at Rangers books and thinking, where's this all come from? How's he left the club? But the club were really confident it was going to get done by the weekend. Now I think they've tempered that, and the photocopier must be broken in Switzerland or something, because it looks like it's now going to be after the weekend. But it will happen. Honestly, it will happen.
The maths isn't brilliant. I think it's 4 games in 18 days, I think. So get that one. Yeah, 2 midweek games. So it's going to be very, very busy now. It's really getting to the climax now, isn't it?
The games in hand. They've got to pick something up. I mean, we looked at John McGinley's predictions the other day, and he's kind of optimistically gone for staying unbeaten until the end of the season. And he thinks, if whatever point you can grab at Villa or a point at Sunderland is a good one. And I completely agree with him, really. Yeah. I think they've got to look at the Swansea game as one they've got to win, and they've got to look at the West Brom at home as one they've got to win as well. Yeah.
Right, well, thanks very much, Mark, and we're back next week to see how it went on. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Mark, for joining us as well. There's actually a correction to that, how many games Bolton have got in how many days. It's actually 5 games in 16 days, so a busy period to come. Join us next week for Talking Wanderers.